Turning Point USA's All American halftime show hitting over 20 million views on YouTube, with Turning Point reporting between 40 and 50 million views tuned in across all platforms. Headliner Kid Rock joining Laura Ingraham to tout the show's success and to discuss why he chose to perform his cover of Cody Johnson's Till I Can't.
Yeah. I knew they wanted to have a program that's great on, family and faith and great music. And I did it to honor him and his fans because he wasn't able to do it. So I said, well, he's gonna have a lot of fans. Or let's try to play one of his songs.
Since his performance, Kid Rock's cover skyrocketing to the top of the iTunes charts, topping Bad Bunny's DTMS in the original version of Till I Can't is number three. Turning Point USA's All American halftime show hitting over 20 million views on YouTube, with Turning Point.
So I'll let you share it, Cuzzo, first.
What am I sharing?
I don't know.
I didn't see.
What do you think about them? I mean, I know we kind of were having a conversation, about other stuff while the actual
Mhm.
halftime show was going on, and we didn't actually see the Turning Point halftime show. But what do you think about them deciding to have a different halftime show during the actual Super Bowl halftime show?
I mean, I think that's their right to have a different halftime show. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so I mean that's their prerogative. Like, just like any other thing in America, people they have their views and opinions on certain things, and maybe if they felt like they wanted to, pull people's attention away from what they felt or thought, wasn't the best representation of America in this current climate, you know, based on what's going on. Uh, they got together and said, "Hey, let's do this," and that's commendable. But it has to be done in a certain form or fashion. And this again looks like this could be separating people, and not bringing them together. And understandably so, there's a reason for that. There's difference of opinions. So when people make decisions, there's going to be people that agree with it and people that disagree with it. So having this, tribute or whatever he did, I heard it was terrible, but I didn't get to watch it, so I don't know. I mean, Kid Rock has been, you know, um, kind of chastised online for some of his views and what he thinks and looks like. So a lot of times people see him, and when he initially came out, what was it, 10, 15 years ago, it was something different, you know. And now it's just become like he's just a tool, to put out a certain message, you know. Some people may see him that way. And I just say, okay, well, you don't agree with it. Okay, do your thing, you know. But at the end of the day, to me, it should be about bringing people together and not dividing people. And entertainment is a way that you can bring people together. But if you do it in a certain fashion, it can be the reverse. So that's just my opinion on it, my take. It's not a good thing or a bad thing, but if it's not done the right way, it can backfire and not bring people together versus separating people. What you got, Cutler? What you over there? You eating dinner or something? You muted.
Yeah, I don't have any people here with me, so I was like trying to fix this guy's video so I can send it to him. But yeah, I was listening. So I mean, I feel you, and actually, that's a different take. than I had, on it. I mean, I do think we should be bringing people together. Um, my what I do think also is that I don't think the NFL did a great job at doing that. You know, I was actually watching a another podcast and they brought this topic up. And, one of the ladies that spoke, and I don't know why I got triggered about this because I'm kind of like on two sides of the coin, right? So but I still have my certain beliefs, and nobody could change that, but she said that she thought it was good because 13% of the people watching the Super Bowl spoke Spanish. And I'm just like, that's a dumbass explanation, for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you're saying that, if I go to say I go play, me and you go play, say we got a two-man sport, just say we play tennis, cause up and we go over to we're from America, we go over to some other country, and then everything is in English. And so the fans are or whatever they speak whatever language the country speaks, that's just not gonna make sense. You know what I mean? Like commentating all of that is just gonna be in straight English. And if they don't speak any English, then it's just dumb to me, and that's just my opinion. Um, for a sport to be as highly uh uh anticipated to be seen so many eyes, it's supposed to be America's sport, for the NFL to have an artist that had all Spanish speaking songs and when Chelsea said 13%, so 87% potentially of the people watching it did not understand what he was saying. You had a lot of the players that they're playing, they were asking them, "Oh, do you know any Bad Bunny songs?" No, I don't really listen to Bad Bunny. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? I like Bad Bunny, some Bad Bunny songs. Honestly, I've listened to some of his music and I like some of his songs. I may not understand what the hell he's saying either. You know what I'm saying? But I like some of his music. Like, during the workouts, like, we have a different types of people. So I used to play different types of music, and it was some of the songs, they had a cool beat, and I would find myself singing them. But I just think it was, it didn't bring, to your point. I don't think that brought people together because people were divided in that sense. And plus, and I know I'm gonna sound crazy, because people say, "Oh, in the things, because the things that are happening today in today's climate, like honestly, there's a divide going on. You have, people on one side, talking about ICE and maybe it was one of those things. Maybe it was like a thing to show that you know, uh, the NFL supports, people that culture, those people, those people being, people that are not here legally, but I don't know. Maybe they were supporting that fight, but I don't think that was a place that they should have did it. I think that divided because some people like just didn't watch it. And I said in my head, man, I said, I know, probably all the Latino people probably got their phones up at the same house watching this thing so it could get these views. I don't know, I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. And, I love Latino people, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I love IANs, they're part of the crew. You know what I'm saying? They part of the IEN crew, you know what I'm saying? So, we I love you, you know? Um, but I don't know. I just think it was uh, a distraction, divisive, and I could be wrong. I think it was, some type of suggestions in there that didn't need to be saying. Yeah, the two dudes humping on each other, and it was said that he might wear a dress, and just all these. I don't know, man. Like stuff like that. I don't rock with. I don't rock with all that type of stuff. And for them to do that on that national stage, I just didn't think it was a good idea. But for Turning Point, that we're talking about Turning Point, I didn't see it. I didn't hear any much about it, other than like it did like 20 million views or something like that, or 20 million streams. Um, yeah, I don't really hear much about it. And this is something that who was that did the same thing? It was somebody who, it was the Living Color. The Living Color decided to air, during the halftime, right? And so uh, I don't think that was. I don't know. I don't know the whole history of that. Honestly, I don't know. Cause do you know the history of that? Like why they actually did it?
No, I just think that they were a new show coming out,
Mhm.
and I forget the reasoning behind it. So yeah, they that was a big moment for them because it worked.
Right.
Yeah. So today you have 20 million streaming. I mean, that don't mean nothing to me because I'm saying, online where you got like 100 phones set up and they all watching, whatever. So you can definitely have streaming set up to where it can trick people into saying, oh, they had 10,000 streams. No, they didn't. Probably one place or a stream farm. I mean, numbers lie these days because people has figured out a way to make the numbers lie.
Right.
Before it used to be harder to do that. Now it's becoming easier with technology and people being able to manipulate that. So now, as you have those conversations, it doesn't move me because it's like, okay, that can be done many different ways. That doesn't show me or tell me that it was 12 million people dedicated to just switch over and then watch this show and be locked in, and then go back to the game. So all in all, I'm pretty sure they had a good number of people watching, but just to know where those streams are come from, middle America, of course, you
All the
know,
dream house.
yeah. And certain areas are definitely going to do that. But everywhere else, probably just like I did, I was just at the table talking, not paying attention, because I didn't care to watch it. It wasn't entertaining for me, because that's not something I follow. I don't even follow his music. You'll hear his music. He has a couple of songs that you recognize. It's oh, okay, that's cool. So they picked him for whatever reason. I don't think it was for any other reason other than there was a plan for it to happen that way. Yeah,
Well, I think also I think it was some
yeah.
type of planning.
Of course, it's coordinated. That we know that we've been educated enough in warfare and propaganda, you know, to know that when things are happening, these are coordinated things that are happening to put these messages and people in front of you, so you can kind of see and hear what's happening, and then it to one side they are don't even know what's going on. They just think this is just oh, they love us here.
Right.
Yeah, of course we love you, but we want you to do things in a way that's done correctly, you know, and then not come in here and try to displace people that have been here and disrespect them and be bigoted towards those types of people because I
Oh,
hear that a lot
what
too.
you talking about there? Let me hear you. Let me
Yeah.
hear, let me hear
Oh
you.
yeah. We know that. We
Let me
know that.
a little
We
bit.
know that we know that people talk about the negros,
Let me popcorn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We know. Go
Come
ahead.
on, wait, man. Let me hear you. Come on, man.
What you got? What you got?
I'll try to see. You said, I thought you was going down a certain road,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, but it's not just here. It's in their culture. It's embedded in them.
Yeah,
You go to Puerto Rico, you go to Dominica, you go to Mexico. Anywhere you have people of Latin descent, well, it's not Latin, it's Spaniards. They came from a certain area. So all these people were not here. They were brought over here originally. So it's history. So they were taught the same thing we were taught about the light skin and the dark skin thing. And then I think it was
that's a lot of.
somebody's, yeah, a podcast. I forget her name. She used to be on the Breakfast Club, but basically she was talking to an artist from Puerto Rico, and he
Mhm.
was just. I don't know if he was from Puerto Rico, but he was in Puerto Rico, maybe on vacation. But he was just saying there's a lot of racism that he experienced while he was in Puerto Rico. And this may just be his experience. It might not be everyone's experience. I don't use a broad brush to paint a picture. So I let people know it's like if that's his experience, then you cannot refute that because that was his experience. Yes, you can say, hey, I'm not like that. My people are not like that, but a majority of the people are like that because this has been something that's happened on more than one occasion. So when people come to here, America and LA, and they move in and kind of take over and just move their stuff in, they feel like they're better than you.
Right.
And it doesn't go that way.
I
You
thought
know,
you were going to talk about those people who built this country. You know.
well, not even that. I mean, that's down. Basically, that's deeper down in the
Yeah,
foundation of it, of
yeah,
course. Because without those people, you wouldn't have the ability to come here and enjoy whatever you're enjoying. Free money, places to live, places to go. You can build your own towns or sell your stuff all over the place, and most of the time, you're not bothered. You know, so it's just kind of like if people really kind of understood, what's the heartbeat of the system, it's people that look like me and you. Yes, everybody else fills in and does their thing and does their part, but if we were allowed to do our thing, which we've done it before many, many times, look up the history, Tulsa, Lake Lanier, you know, where Times Square is built, you know, that park over there in New York. I mean, there's been plenty of towns that, people have built that were wiped out and built on top of, and no one wants to talk about those things. You want to talk about the feel good stuff,
right.
you know? So if people, really just kept that truth in front and not tried to embellish on what they want to make happen and what they want to feel as or have history tell you, then there will always be truth in the forefront. And then everybody could live, as they are because we're living by truth and not by fantasies, fallacies, lies, you
Well,
know.
I think that some people have they want to feel like they had a lot to do with the way things are, and not to say you didn't play a part in some things, but this the foundations of things. Sorry, you,
Yeah, I mean, you
the
had a part.
huh?
Yeah, you had a part, but you didn't create what was already here before you got here. Yes,
Hey,
as you got here, you made leaps and bounds and made probably some new advancements, but the playbook was already written. You probably put new plays in the book.
and not just the playbook was made. There was a lot of barriers that were tore down because if you came along a little bit sooner, you know what I'm saying? You'll be right in the same boat with us. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? You don't look like us. You know what I'm saying? We gonna enslave you. We gonna do all this crazy stuff to you. But we got to endure, the hard stuff. We went through the hard stuff. It's like and I know it's funny, but this reminds me of that the chicken, right? Chicken was on the farm. She was like, "Who's gonna help me, you know, uh plant the wheat?" Pig said no, dog said no, cat said no. You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna help me, pick it? Everybody said no. Who's gonna help me cook it? Everybody said no. But when it's time to eat, who's gonna help me eat it? Everybody wanted to eat. You wasn't here from the beginning, from the growth, from the plant, from the growth to the picking. You got here when it was time to eat. And you feel like because you're eating that you played a major part in it. No, you didn't do the groundwork.
You played a part in eating, yeah.
Yeah, eating right now. We eating right now.
Eating, no problem.
And so, yeah, that's funny to me when I hear it. But I mean, people are passionate about it. I'm like, okay, sometimes I don't want to get in those debates, but sometimes I think it's good to have a back and forth, or not a back and forth, but a question because I started to ask questions to see why they feel the way that they feel. Like, why do you think that? I get some interesting answers.
Yeah,
And then we can go from there.
yeah, no doubt. I mean, asking questions is where you get to the root of someone's thought process. You can understand, if it's a talking point, if it's something that was given to them, or they're just going off emotion, you
Right.
know. So
And I find out a lot of times that it's either a talking point or they going off emotions.
right, absolutely, and that's how you defend your space and place and wherever you are. So of course you want to feel like you matter or you count, and which everyone does,
Right,
to an extent, because we all have a place and a space to play a role. And the people that came before you, you want to give homage to those people because those are your ancestors. Those people are within your DNA. So if you're shunning those people or you're not giving credence to those people, then you're not giving credence to yourself.
right. And what do you think about the people that think that we're lazy and that, uh, actually, no, I don't want to go down that route, man.
I mean, I don't. That doesn't bother me because, again, as we said before, you came when it was time to eat. The meal was already hunted. Cleaned and cooked. So when you showed up, it was time to eat. So that doesn't bother me. Somebody says that, we're lazy. Okay, well, just look at all the accomplishments. Just go down a list. Find you a book. Look it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to me, that's a scapegoat. To me, that's a deterrent to make yourself feel powerful. If you have history, then learn about it. If you feel like I'm not as strong as you guys in history, well, it's okay. But what we can do now is move forward and work together to figure out how we can make life better together.
Right.
Don't try to shun me or shun where I'm at now today because my ancestors did what they needed to do to allow us to be here. You give thanks and credence to that. And I see a lot of people online understanding that point and giving thanks and credence to that because they know,
Right.
they know, they know who everybody is,
So
where
it's
everybody was.
not an excuse that you weren't born here, like we said this whole episode, like there's a lot of information out there. And if you choose to want to know it, then you'll get it. If you choose not to want to know it, then you'll just be ignorant
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
sound ignorant.
Uh-huh.
And man, shout out to the folks, man.